As our current chapter focuses on various sector-specific drones, their applications, how to design them, our today's lecture focuses on designing and selecting, monitoring, and patrolling drones. One of the biggest things that has happened due to the advancement in drone technologies is drones are being used for a lot of monitoring purposes, for patrolling purposes. For example, one of the projects I was working on was for patrolling of highways. So on the highways, wherever there were vehicles which are stopped or vehicles which are doing road violations, those vehicles were picked up using the drones and the machine learning algorithms and were reported to the police. And that not only alerted the police that there are vehicles which are doing road violations, but the data that we gathered over the weeks helped us to analyze which are the areas and what are the times where vehicles are doing the most number of violations. So that's the kind of application which have evolved, especially in the monitoring and patrolling domain. Let's look at some of these even further in our upcoming slides. So drone patrolling and monitoring has been used for a lot of purposes. One of the areas that is used is for monitoring infrastructure. So you can use the drones for monitoring various infrastructures such as factories or residential areas, which are very long. So instead of having guards at all the different places, you can have a drone which is continuously monitoring the perimeter and making sure there is no illegal entrance from any other people, or you're monitoring the railways. So one of the biggest projects that government is running right now is monitoring of railway tracks. So you're monitoring the railway tracks to find out whether there are cracks or whether there are overhead lines which are broken, and this can be done by drones much more quicker than the current methods. So that's one of the areas that is growing a lot for patrolling, monitoring. And something which is interesting also going on over here is they are actually not only used for monitoring within the city but outside the city as well. For example, you're monitoring the number of trees, whether there is deforestation, illegal deforestation happening within the forest, or if there are animals being killed within a forest. So these are the kind of applications that are being actually used for monitoring and patrolling of the drones. So let's talk about a bit more about the applications. First is, as I talked about, the railroad monitoring. Second is the security monitoring of infrastructures. This I have seen a couple of applications within India as well as out of India, where long stretches of infrastructure were monitored using the drones, especially fixed wings. So they were used to monitor continuously a particular area, and as soon as there was an illegal entrance, an alarm was set up so that the nearest guard could go to that place. Highway patrolling that I was talking about, situational awareness. So it's, as I said, it was used for monitoring whether there is deforestation happening. Another useful case that was happening was for monitoring riots. So in the north, whenever there were riots, so police were using drones to actually monitor the riots, the entrance point of the riots, and so on, so that the police exactly know where to enter or where to take an intervention. So this is the kind of use that we use for the situational awareness. And finally, the object monitoring, like as I said, trees, or you can monitor various objects, you can monitor various infrastructures, a lot of things. So these applications are growing a lot as drone technologies keep on advancing. You have carbon fiber frames, you have fixed wings, you have VTOLs. So more and more applications are growing with the advancement in drones. So how do you select drones for basically these kind of applications? First of all, drone in a box. When I say drone in a box, it means that the entire drone package is easily deployable. You don't have to start reconfiguring as soon as. So, for example, if I have to give it to an infrastructure person, so that person should be able to immediately start map the entire infrastructure, say that this is where the drone is going on the perimeter, and start using it quickly. So, because the people that are mainly using that are either equipped or not equipped with a pilot or so. But you want something which is quickly deployable. The drone does its work, and if it requires charging, it comes back, or if it completes its mission, it comes back. That's one of the main requirements for monitoring and patrolling purposes. Second is a sensor package. What kind of sensors are? Is it equipped with a thermal camera? Is it equipped with an optical camera? What kind of sensor package is it required while selecting a drone? So that's very much important. Day and nighttime capability. So a day. So nowadays, drones are not only required during the day, even in the nights they are required. So as per DGC regulations, there are nighttime flying is not permitted. But what happens is within closed premises, you can still do a nighttime flying and you can still monitor the area. So you want drones which can be flown both in the day as well as in the night. That's the beauty of the drones, and that's the technology where it is advancing towards it. Level of autonomy. As I said, you want the drone to be as autonomous as possible. You don't want an entire team trying to set up a drone station and trying to set up an entire infrastructure before it's being launched for surveying and all. So it will take time. You want something which is quickly deployable, has a level of secure autonomy, and it does the work and comes back. So that's where the monitoring and patrolling applications are looking at. Finally, the data security. So this is one of the most important aspects, because finally any sort of sensor or any sort of camera that you're using, you're generating a lot of data regarding that place or regarding that entire infrastructure. For example, let's say you're monitoring the railway lines for cracks. Now you have to make sure that whatever data that you're collecting regarding the railway lines is kept very secured, because that data can be illegally used. So you want to make sure that that data is not being stored in the third-party software or on third-party location. You want to make sure that it is only stored with you in a secured location, because for all these purposes, data security is very, very important. So these are the main core concepts or requirements for selection of a drone, basically for monitoring and patrolling purposes. We'll further look at many other applications in our upcoming lectures also. Thank you very much.